Hey, everybody, this is Craig Garber. Welcome to Everyone Loves Guitar. We're going to give some love to the rhythm section today. My next guest is a timekeeper, Liberty DeVito, most well known, of course, for being Billy Joel's drummer. But this guy keeps time like a Swiss watch, man. He's just, on point every single beat. And it's a pleasure to listen to him, as I'm sure everybody listens to this knows. I want to just give a quick shout out and thank you to Jeff Carlisi, our mutual friend, for hooking us up. Jeff, thanks. We appreciate it. And also make sure you go to everyonelovesguitar.com/subscribe. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit the subscribe button with the little emoji, and it helps us with the YouTube search engines. And thank you. Real quick on Liberty. Liberty DeVito, most well known for being Billy Joel's studio and touring drummer for 30 years. He was the longest tenured member of Billy's band. He's also a successful sideman. He's worked with artists like Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels, Pat Travers, Meatloaf, Karen Carpenter, Carly Simon, Paul McCartney, Mick Jones from Foreigner, great jazz pianist Bob James, Rick Wakeman, Phoebe Snow, and others. He was also a member of the band Big People, along with Jeff Carlisle, the late Benjamin Orr, Pat Travers, and Derek St. Holmes. Lib grew up in Seaford, Long Island. His dad was a New York City cop. He has 4 daughters and lives in Brooklyn with his wife and their youngest daughter, and he still plays drums for the Lords of 52nd Street and the Slim Kings. Records he has played on have sold in excess of 150 million copies. And Liberty just released his autobiography. It's called Liberty, Life, Billy, and the Pursuit of Happiness. It's a wonderful book. I read right through it. It's really compelling. It's a fun book to read, and you feel like Liberty's reading the story to you. I would encourage everyone to get it. It's very well written, and Lib is a very passionate. Your passion comes through here, man, not just on music, but you could tell you're one of these guys. If you're in, it's 110%. You don't do 50%. And yeah, man, that came through in here. And he shared the stage with an endless who's list of classic rock musicians. Thank you so much, man. I'm so happy to connect with you. I appreciate you coming on the show.
It's great to be here. I mean, in the pandemic, it's great to be anywhere, really.
I know. I hear you, man. I said to you before we started, I couldn't believe your memory. I mean, the details here, especially about like the way past. And then if you're comfortable about that, you had started putting this together a while back.
Yeah. I started it as putting it together for a family history for my daughters. That's what it started out as. And then when I had my falling out with Billy, then I started to write some Billy stuff, and it wasn't as kind as it is in the book. but so I mean, that was 15 years in the making.
Yeah,
and the history, the family history was before that. So, and my father lived till he was 91. My mom lived till she was 89. And I had some aunts, and I interviewed them on cassette tapes, and
cool.
I asked them what it was like when they were growing up, what my dad was like. And my aunt would go, "Oh, Lib, he was bad. Lib, he was bad."
Well, you're pretty candid about that in the book, like you guys had issues, and he was pretty dysfunctional at times, it seemed like a lot of our dads.
Yeah. Well, it was a different time back then. When you wanted to straighten your kid out, you slapped him, you slapped him across the face. But now, things are different. It's like, like I was saying in the book, he used to call me dumb and stupid when I would do things. And I wouldn't wish that on any kid, because it really affected me. Luckily, I had to, I know you want to talk about it later, my little sanctuary, which was my room. Yeah. So
I want to take you back through certain parts of the book that were pretty important to you. Tell me about, for example, the first time you saw I'm 5 minutes with you. I'm slipping into my New York accent. This is hilarious. The first time you saw Vanilla Fudge and how that made you feel.
Oh, geez. I was with the band called the New Rock Workshop. We were playing at a place called the My House. It was for underage people to come and see the band. No alcohol was sold there. And, the Fudges is another Long Island band. So I had never seen them before. I'd heard their records, but I'd never seen them. And a friend of mine says, I had phony proof at the time, back then in the 60s, when guys were going to Vietnam, I would get buy a guy's proof, like for $5, I could become Vic Zito, and I'm 18 years old, So we went to the Action House to see the Vanilla Fudge. And when I saw them, I could not believe how much passion and how hard they played. Carmine hit the drums so, Carmine Appice I'm talking about, hit the drums so hard. It was incredible to see the way he struck the drums. You know, before that, my favorites were, first was Ringo, then Dino Danelli,
Right.
you know, from the Rascals, who showed me that a drummer could be as visual as a lead singer, you know, but all the antics he did and the way he played. And then Carmine took that and put force behind it, you know, like when Carmine put his stamp on it, it was like, you knew it was Carmine playing.
Yeah. They were a
So
great
it kind
band.
of blew me away, you know?
You know, it's funny. I had his brother on the show, and Vinny, apparently there's 3 brothers. They all pronounce the last name differently.
Yeah, they have the drum wars, a piece and a piece
Appice.
and Appice.
Yeah. And then talk about, Lib, how did you first get turned on to blues, and why was that so magical for you?
Well, I was always into R&B. I remember I had a 74 Bronco, you know, and it had an AM radio, but I had a little cassette player. It was actually the same cassette player that me and Doug in the book taped the car for moving out.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
that's cool.
It was the same tape deck, and I had cassettes of like Aretha Franklin, Wilson Pickett, you know, Otis Redding, and I put a little speaker, hooked it up to the radio. It was just a speaker I found in the trash, and I would play the cassette through that. And I loved R&B. But when I found out about the blues, my sister married Bill Apostolides, and all his friends were deep into the blues. You know, like I can remember once somebody said, he asked, "What are the chords?" He played bass, Bill, and somebody said, "What are the chords?" And the guy said, "It's 1-4-5." You know, and he goes, "What are you talking about?" He says, 1-1-4-5. He goes, no, that's 1-2-3. That's how it goes. You know, that's how deep into the blues they were. It was 1-2-3, not 1-4-5. You know?
Wow.
So they were so deep, and they turned me on to so many different blues singers and players and bands that they used to buy albums just for the cover sometimes. I bought an album for a cover. It's called, it was by Junior Parker, and it's called You Don't Have to Be Black to Love the Blues. And it's a Chinese kid eating watermelon on the cover.
Oh my God. What a great, that is so cool.
Yeah, that was cool. So they turned me on to that stuff, you know, and once I started to listen to it, it was like, oh my gosh, you know, this stuff you can't fake. You got to live it. These guys lived it, you know. You're talking about sitting around the shack and sitting on the porch in a rocking chair with a guitar maybe that has 2 strings on it, and you got a thimble on your finger.
Right.
You're getting this sound that's like, wow, you know, the stories they're telling. It's really true. So that really got me way into it, you know.
Who are you into in particular at the time? Anybody in particular, or just the whole genre?
Well, I loved, I can remember before that, when I was just like dabbling in the outside of the blues, I liked Paul Butterfield.
Yeah.
Loved Paul Butterfield. I loved the way he played harmonica. And 2 of my favorite guitarists, you know, Elvin Bishop and Mike Bloomfield.
Yeah,
Mike Bloomfield's got to be at the top of my list of like favorite guitar players.
He's amazing, man.
Yeah, when he played with Electric Flag too, it was like, whew,
really, that East West, that Paul Butterfield East West album, holy crap!
Insane, yeah, insane
good stuff, man. Really,
but
good stuff.
Yeah. So I was into like things like that, and then they turned me on to, you know, Charlie Musselwhite and you know, Junior Parker. Howlin' Wolf, all these. Well, Howlin' Wolf, you knew some of those guys from the English rock guys that came over.
Sure.
And you would hear that they got their ideas from these certain people, and then you go out and buy these albums, and you go like, oh, okay, I know why they're copying it. And then when you hear the real guys, it's like, these English guys stink, you know.
Yeah. Well, they didn't have the blues.
Right.
They didn't have the real blues. Yeah.
I mean, Keith Richards comes close. I mean, you know, he's so dedicated to what he does that he comes across in how he plays.
Yeah.
So simple and so like, wow, why did he think of that? But it's great, you know.
Still, yeah.
Mm.
So you and Billy connected. You played kind of on the same Long Island circuit, and Doug Stegmeyer, bassist who played with both of you, connected you guys. Your first gig with Billy was in November '74. What were your thoughts like early on about the band that played that first gig? Like, did you have any gut feel? Was this something you thought would last, or what was your early
Well,
feeling?
you know, there's always that. I remember being told by Felix Cavalieri and the Rascals that a band has a 5-year career. If they have a hit record out, 5 years they can live off it. You can tour and until you go away, and then nobody wants to know you anymore. So, you know, when you think about it, with Turnstiles, we didn't have a hit. Billy had the hit on Piano Man, and it wasn't even really. It was a cult hit. You know, it wasn't like a smash, like here we can work it out or something like that. So the expectation was that I don't know what was going to happen, but it was fun doing what we're doing. You know, you got to remember, I'm only 26, 27 years old, 25 years old, and living the life, traveling the world, even if it's in 2 rental cars, I don't care.
Yeah.
Girls every night, you know, and just playing and just putting everything into it. You know, it was great. And he was writing great songs too, you know?
Yeah.
So it was easy.
So nobody would have ever imagined where it would take you to the heights that it did.
No.
Yeah.
No.
That's not possible, I don't think, right?
No, you're just having fun at the time. I mean, you know, you're doing something good. I thought Turnstiles was going to be a big one. I mean, New York State of Mind's on Turnstiles, Angry Real Man, Miami 2017, Say Goodbye to Hollywood, all those great songs.
Yeah.
50,000 copies, boom, it was over.
Yeah.
Stranger lifted everything up, you know.
I remember when all those records came out, because I was living in the city then, and it was so, you know, it was kind of like it was Billy Joel, and then you had Simon and Gar. You know, you had these city artists that it meant a lot more coming, you know, hearing them come out of the city when you lived there.
Sure,
we were special.
We were yours.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
We were yours.
Yeah, man. That's exactly what it was.
And you know what? We were never really, as successful as we were on the East Coast, we were never really that big on the West Coast.
Really?
Later on.
Okay.
We would play, you know, that's why they did the Elton and Billy tours after a while.
Oh, because he was big on the West?
Yes. And we were big on the East.
Oh, shit. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Early on with Billy's band, what were some of the challenges, maybe as far as getting gigs, getting the band launched, defining the sound that you wanted?
Well, Billy knew in his heart that he wanted the same guys to play on the record that played live with him. Same guys, because he was using studio guys at the time of Piano Man and Street Life Serenada, and then going on the road with a different band. Russ Kunkel was the drummer on Piano Man and Street Life Serenade, and Reese Clark went on tour with Billy.
Okay.
So 2 different fields are going on here, you know? So Billy wants the same guys to play on the record and then go on the road, because he knows that the passion will follow, you know, and give those guys a little something, you know, wave a carrot in front of them, and they're going to play their ass off every night.
Yeah, for sure.
About this record, you know? So business-wise, it was very smart of him to do that, you know, and to have, he always wanted to be in a band. You know, he didn't want to be Billy Joel. He wanted to be a part of a band. So he was able to do that at the same time as being Billy Joel, the only guy signed to the record company.
Right. To his credit that he did that, because like no one does that for the most part. You know, you have session guys. Even now, a lot of times you got session guys on the record, and you have different touring guys on stage with you. You know, that's how everybody in Nashville does it for sure. You know, it's
yeah, I've done that a bunch of times with people's stuff. You know, played on the records, and there's a drummer in the band. You know?
Yeah. It's just if I give him credit. Yeah, I don't understand that either. You'd think you'd want, because you're right, that passion. You know, if you're feeling it in the studio, then like, why wouldn't you put it live?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You're just taking it with you on the road, you know, packaging it up, putting it in a rent-a-car and go.
Yeah. 1983, you guys recorded Innocent Man album. And you said in the book that album was the most fun to make and specifically the song Easy Money, which I remember seeing that Rodney Dangerfield movie and listening to that song. What made that whole experience so cool for you?
You know what's great about that? I went to the movie to see it, and I forgot that we had done the title track, you know? And,
Sure.
and when you sit in the seat and a movie comes on, the first thing you hear is that pop, 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 pop. La, 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 la. It's the first thing you hear. You know, I was like, whoa, I forgot about this.
That's cool.
But it was great because that night, Phil Ramone combined the band with a bunch of studio cats. You know, like on the guitar was Russell Javors, David Brown, and Eric Gale.
Okay.
Famous studio guy.
Yeah, old time studio cat. Yeah.
Yeah. Richard T played piano. Leon Jarvis or something.
Pendarvis.
But he played Pendarvis. Yes.
Yeah. Pendarvis.
Played organ. Michael Brecker was playing one saxophone. He had all these great guys. Me and Doug. You know, I was the only drummer. Doug was the bass player, and Billy was in a booth by himself singing. That's it. Richard T played piano on that one.
Yeah.
You know, so it was okay. Here we go. Ready? And I counted off with those hits.
Right.
We're in your headphones. You're hearing that complete record. You know, you're hearing what's on that record. There's no overdubs on that record.
Right.
You know,
so it's fully live.
We're in the booth. Yeah, fully live. Fully live. I got so excited. I told Phil, we need to go on Saturday Night Live right now with this band and do this tune.
Did I'm sure you did eventually, right?
Well, we didn't do that tune. I was on Saturday Night Live like 5 times.
Yeah, I would figure. Yeah.
Once with Stevie Nicks too, you know.
You worked as a sideman with some pretty cool people. I'm gonna, for each one of these people that I asked you about, if you could talk about how you got the gig and maybe a cool or interesting story about working with them. Let's start with Sir Paul. And if you could share the story, this was great, about your friend's bridal party. That was so cool.
Yeah.
But you could tell you were shitting bricks on that, man.
Well, I got the call, you know, and it was like Joe D'Ambrosio, Phil's assistant. Phil wants you in the studio on such and such date. I can't. I gotta go to this dinner. Cancel it. What are you talking about? Cancel it. You know, it's like, I can't cancel it. Who are we in the studio with? I can't tell you. What do you mean you can't tell me? That's ridiculous. You can't tell me. So, you know, it got to the point we went back and forth, and he said, okay, it's Paul McCartney. I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. Paul McCartney? Give me 5 minutes. I'll call you back. You know, you know, and I asked my mother, what would you do? She goes, oh, Lib, you committed to your friend. You got to go to the dinner. You got to tell Phil you can't make it. She said, who's he want you in there with? I said, Paul McCartney. She goes, freak Brian Ruggles.
That was the best part of the story, man, when your mom came back with that, you know, because she said the right answer at first, and then it's like, well, you know, exception to every
it's Paul McCartney, you know. And you know, I never in the book I don't talk about what the session was actually like.
What was it like?
Well, I'm doing the audio book now, and I'm adding all this stuff.
Cool.
That I realized that I didn't talk about, and there was one thing that I can't actually talk about in the book, but I can show you right now. Let me just.
Yeah, man, awesome. This is great.
Hold on. We were in the studio, and we take a break. Right, we did 2 songs with Paul, and in the middle of the songs, like we'd be playing a little Richard stuff because he was playing piano on the tracks. So he'd get off the piano for a while. And I was just sitting on a chair, and the next thing I know, he's on the drums, and he's playing away. And the rest of the band comes out, and they start playing with Paul, and he keeps looking over at me like, "I'm pretty cool, ain't I? Ain't I cool? Ain't I cool?" And I'm looking at him like, oh, "Okay, you're okay. You're all right, right?" So we're sitting there, and finally he gets off the drum set, and he starts walking over to me, and leaning on the wall is an acoustic guitar. And I picked it up, and I looked at him and went, "Oh, yeah?"
Holy shit.
And he went, "Oh my God, you can play that?" And I said, "Yeah, I can play that."
How often do you play?
I have, you know, I have some stuff, and You know, oh, how about this one? You know,
Oh yeah, 38 Special. That's Carlisi's part.
I play. Oh, I need a pick.
There you go, man. That's so funny. So you started playing Blackbird in front of Paul.
In front of Paul.
That's pretty ballsy.
Yeah.
Good for you, man.
Well, you know what's amazing about the guitar is that when I was at home with my parents learning how to play drums, I couldn't play when they were watching TV. So I got a guitar and I would just learn the tops of the chords, you know, like.
Yeah.
And then somebody showed me a bar chord like that.
Right. Jeez, you got big fingers, man. Holy shit. You should have played guitar. My God, you could have killed it.
I play the E chord wrong. I play it like this.
Yeah, that's different.
Because I always go.
So you just slide right up into the bar. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, and then I realized after a while that is my hi-hat.
Yeah.
You know?
That's funny, man. That's pretty cool. So it was a good experience with Paul.
It was great. It was great. We had a break for lunch. We ate pizza and we just talked about children, having children. And my daughter, Tori, who's the actress now on Chicago Med.
Right.
She was like just born very young. And so I got him to sign the cover of Rolling Stone for her, you know, and he was just really, really nice. And the song we did called Beautiful Night, the version that Ringo played on got on his one of his albums, and he just released an album, not the solo album, the one before it.
Okay.
He released it, and my version of Beautiful Night you can get on the box set.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Not many people can say they played with the Beatle.
With the Beatle.
Yeah.
And I also sat in and with Ringo once and played a little help for my friends on his drum set while he sang it out in front of the audience.
That's pretty wild. That had to be like special.
That was insane because when I got up there to play, you know, they asked me to come up and play a little help with my friends with Ringo. And as I got up there, the roadie came up to me and goes, "Whatever you do, don't break that ride cymbal." Yes, I hit fairly hard. And I said, "Well, what's the big deal?" He goes, "That's the one he played on the Ed Sullivan Show."
Oh my, really? And he's toting it around 50 years later?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome, man. What a great story. Thank you.
Yeah.
Pat Travers, talk about a good guitar. You probably hooked up with him when you were in Orlando because he's around there, I think, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
He lives in Orlando. Yeah. Pat, wonderful person. A lot of fun, a lot of laughs with Pat. Great guitar player. We wrote a bunch of songs together. We did 2 blues albums together. We, like I said, when I first got the call for Big People, they had another guy going to play drums, and he got the call to go audition for Skynyrd.
Oh yeah, what's his? I know you're talking about
Danny Carmassi or something.
Scammer. Yeah, it's an Italian guy. I don't remember his name, but yeah.
So he gets the call, and Jeff is like sitting around with Pat and Ben and everybody, and he goes, "What are we going to do now?" And Pat goes, "I'll call Lib." Lib who? You know, Liberty DeVito. You know, yeah, like he's going to kind of play with us. You know, like, and he goes, "No, I play with him all the time. He lives like right by me." When he called me, my hotel room phone rings, and it's Pat. And I had just gotten back. We were playing Madison Square Garden. I just gotten back. And I answer the phone. He goes, "Hey, you want to play with me and Ben and you know, Jeff and Derek?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, I think the tour's over in a couple of days." "Yeah, sure, not a problem." Yeah. You know,
that's cool, man.
You know, there's some great videos out there of us playing a couple of festivals.
You know, I need to check those out because Jeff was so high on that as well.
There's one, I don't know how Pat does it, but there's one he does where he uses the volume and it's insane what he's doing. It's really cool.
Man,
and when Jeff and him played together, you know, it was like crazy.
That's probably cool. I'm going to look that up. I remember listening to you had a very New York childhood, because mine was very similar. You know, you
Yeah.
get in a little trouble, you use drugs recreationally, and it's very funny reading that. I was like, oh, it was very normal. That's
Yeah.
um, but I remember listening to Boom Boom Out Goes the Lights when I was a kid. It was so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? It's funny because when those my ex brother-in-law turned me on to the blues, he turned me on to a group called Bacon Fat, and their album was called Grease One for Me, and they do Boom Boom Out Got the Lights on it. So when I
Oh.
heard Pat do it, I was like, that stinks.
That's funny. You opened, this was way back, for Leslie West and the Vagrants one time. Do you have any cool Leslie stories?
Well, we didn't open for them. That they were opening for the Rascals.
Oh,
when I
right.
met
And
the
you were in the
Rascals.
dressing room. Right.
In
Okay.
their dressing room, because their bass player forgot their bass, and my band at 15 years old,
Right.
we had a bass, and we went and got it for them, and then the guy introduced us to the Rascals, which was unbelievable. But Leslie, yeah, I had worked with Leslie a few times in these rock and roll fantasy camps.
Sure.
I worked with Leslie on those, and for a year and a half, maybe even longer than that, I was in a house band at the new the Hard Rock Hotel that's in Orlando.
Yeah, sure.
Right when it opened, for about a year and a half, I was in the house band there. And Leslie would come down and play with us for 4 nights in a row. You know, a bunch of people did that. The harmonica player from War, what's his name? I can't think of his name right now, but also Rick Derringer is another one.
He's another Florida guy, I think.
Yeah, he's in Florida.
Yeah.
A lot of Florida guys down there. They go down there to retire. I was there for 9 years. I was like, I got to get out of here.
I know your experience, but you had a lot of bad shit happening to you there too. And I told you. When you talked about I needed to get back to the city, I totally understood that, because there's something there, the energy, and you can't replicate.
Oh yeah. No. And I became the celebrity pet down in Winter Park. You know, it's like, oh, he's the drummer with Billy Joel. And everywhere I went, it was like, it's a drag.
Yeah.
You know,
I've been to that Hard Rock Hotel. It's a really nice hotel. Been there a couple of times.
Oh, it was really nice. It was really nice. They had a hard time getting off the ground with the music end of it, you know, because I don't think they were managing it right. But it was fun. Leslie told us a story once that was hilarious, and you know, it's Leslie's story. And I understand he's very sick right now.
I saw that online
on Facebook. A lot of people are saying pray for Leslie. He's not doing well. He told us a story about when he was with the Vagrants. He had bought this brand new leather, kind of leather suit with pants and jacket and shirt, you know, pants and shirt with fringes on it. And he was like, this is me. I'm the rock star now. He's like, well, the Action House, where I first saw the Fudge, and I saw many bands there, Chicago, I saw the Blue Cheer, I saw the Traffic, I saw so many bands there. And the Hells Angels used to like hang out there too. So the Hells Angels, they go in the back, and Leslie's back there, and the Hells Angels say, look, I want to show you a magic trick, Leslie. So they say, take this scarf. There was 3 of them, right? They take the kerchiefs, you know, the handkerchiefs that they use.
Yeah.
And each guy, including Leslie, put each corner in their mouth, and they put a coin in the middle of the scarf, and they tell Leslie, watch now. We're going to make this coin disappear. So Leslie's watching. All of a sudden, he feels warm all over those new pants that he just got. They're pissing on his legs because he can't see because the scarf is covering everything.
Oh, my God. That's weird. Holy shit. That's weird. Everybody says what a funny guy he is.
He's a riot.
Yeah.
He's a riot.
Yeah.
And a beautiful cat, man. I mean, just a great person, you know?
That's cool. Yeah, I hope whatever's going on there gets resolved for his benefit.
Yeah, we used to do dueling Rodney Dangerfields, you know. Hey, how are you?
Oh, did you? Hey, this is a tough one. What would you say, knee-jerk reaction, top 3 musical experiences you've had?
Top 3? Okay, top 2 right away.
Okay.
Playing the Soviet Union in 86 and playing Cuba in 79. Both communist countries, both countries that Americans weren't permitted to go to, you know. Yeah, so those are 2 of them. And let's see, number 3, top musical experience. I guess the first time we won a Grammy for Just the Way You Are, that was pretty cool. You know?
I want to ask you about Russia because I had a question about that because it was very nice. So it was 1985, the Bridge Tour. You guys play Russia, and the experience turned out to be really different than what you thought it would be. And at the end of the chapter there, you had a beautiful, really nice quote. It was a very heartfelt chapter, that whole thing. You said, I learned that the Cold War was about government, our government against their government, not their people against our people. And I'd love to hear you talk about that. Maybe you could share your initial thoughts as you headed out there, and then the creepy plane and the weird hotel, and how that was all minimized by your experience with the people.
Well, yeah. Well, the fact that I was going to the Soviet Union, I'm getting on a plane, Lufthansa, you know, and I'm thinking, okay, we defeated the Germans twice. You know, I'm going to a place that we really shouldn't be going to. You know, they're our enemy. I expected to see 3-headed dragons breathing fire when I got off the plane. And my name is Liberty. It's like, what
and you had an American flag shirt on, which I thought was really funny.
Yeah, when we did the concerts, I had the American flag shirt on.
Yeah.
And so that whole experience, and when we got there, you know, you're retained at the airport because they're checking your passport, and then they take your passport, and it's like you forget that there's this wall around this country that it's for people so they can't get out. It's not for people to come in. It's for people to get out. They can't get out.
Right.
You know, and now here we are, Americans. We're there. The fact that we were there to play music really makes the difference, because music crosses all language barriers, different political barriers. It just crosses everything. It just washes all that away. And people just enjoy a good groove and a good song. You know, they didn't even know the language. We had an interpreter that would talk between the songs with Billy when Billy would say something. You know, they don't know the words. You know, I remember going to Japan once, and one of the questions for Billy was, "What's a big shot?" You know,
wow.
I don't know what a big shot is.
Yeah.
You know? So the Russians didn't know anything. They did know the word honesty.
Right.
And when we did honesty, they knew that, you know, but they felt the music. They felt the music, and the music changes. Your music changes a lot of minds, you know, and hearts when you play. And so when I'm standing outside and I'm looking up at the clouds going by, and I'm thinking, these are the same clouds that are over America. These people love us. They wanted to know everything about us. What was it like on the outside, you know? Because we were told not to bring Bibles, not to bring newspapers. You couldn't bring Time magazine, Newsweek magazine, couldn't bring them.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it was insane. So, you know, that's when I realized that it's not the people. We, you know, Billy wrote a song called Leningrad on the Stormfront album, which was after the Bridge. And the turnaround there is we never knew what friends we had till we came to Leningrad. You know, I thought they would be horrible and they would hate us. They loved us.
Yeah. They were very warm to you guys, you said.
Very warm. Yeah. Very, very warm. You know, when we went to Georgia first, it was just me, 3 singers, and Billy to do an impromptu up at this monastery that was way up on a hill. This group, this vocalists, they would sing these Georgian chants, and they would you could actually put their hands on you, and they would heal your bones because they really low, and you could feel the vibration, you know. And so Billy wanted to do like a doo-wop thing, so he brought the singers, and myself he brought for comic relief. You know? And I remember telling the guy after it, we're at a party at a professor's house, and telling one of the singers, I said, you know, you Russians are really great. And he looked at me and said, we are not Russians, we are Georgians. Like, whoa.
I remember that in the book. They were pretty making sure you knew that.
Yeah. And then you know, I was fortunate enough to be able to be taken by one of our translators. They traveled with us wherever we went. We all had individual ones. Elena was her name, and she took me to like a coffee shop where students hung out, and we were talking, and all these people were talking, and she said, "You'll see in about a year when Soviet Union stops sending things to Cuba, there's going to be a big change here in Russia." And that was it. A year later, like boom, you know.
That's when things started opening up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, it's the governments when they decide they don't want to do it. You know, like John Lennon says, war's over if you want it.
Yeah.
If you want it over, it's over.
Right.
You know?
Totally.
Somebody doesn't want it over. They're making a lot of money doing it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is a shame.
How was Cuba? To talk about that.
Cuba was even more communist than, than Russia.
I couldn't believe the description of the places. I mean,
holy cow. Like, you know, it was, when you see it in the movies, like in The Godfather, when they go there and then the Castro just all of a sudden takes over and they get out really quick. It's a beautiful place. The hotels are beautiful. The nightclubs, the Copacabana that they had there, you know, all that with Ricky Ricardo, all that kind of stuff. Nothing like that when we got there. It was decaying. Just everything was decaying. Salt water coming out of the faucets in your room, you know, you ate paella every day.
Yeah.
You know, guards in bunkers on the beach where you were hanging out.
Yeah, that was pretty disturbing hearing that. Yeah.
But then again, the music, the kids came and saw the music, you know, it was unbelievable. And I've met so many people that came over on the rafts after that, that were at that show.
That's amazing.
You know, how it changed them. And, you know, we don't think of ourselves as ambassadors to the United States, but we actually were. You know, going to Russia, they were seeing what Americans were like. And going to Cuba.
They probably had the same viewpoint of Americans as you guys, or as we had of Russians.
Oh yeah, there was a big poster of Uncle Sam pushing a baby carriage down the road with an atomic bomb in it. You know.
Wow.
In Russia, yeah.
Wow, but they just took things at face value, and they were open, and you guys were open, and it all worked. It's funny how that happens.
Yeah. My favorite though was, I think I put it in the book, was when Elena came to my room and she saw a jar of peanut butter, and she says, "Oh, this is the stuff that Americans really like, huh?" I said, "Yeah, take it, take a spoonful and try it." She tried, and it was like, you ever try Vegemite?
Yes, of course.
I thought she ate Vegemite.
It's like horrible, man. It's awful, that stuff. Oh.
She thought peanut butter was horrible.
Did she really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy, man. I want to talk about something more serious. Early on in the book, it was funny because I highlighted that when I read it. It was like probably the first 40 pages, maybe even less. You said, "My drum has enabled me to escape emotionally from a world of hurt." Because throughout the book, you have these little sections where you talk about your relationship with your drums and what it means to you, and what you've been able to, the love and emotion you've been able to generate through them.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
By the end of the book, you sort of come full circle with this, and you realize that this emotional escape that has provided you has been a blessing as well as a curse. So I was wondering, to whatever extent you're comfortable, if you could talk about that.
Yeah. Well, in the beginning, you know, for a kid who's in school and, you know, wants to be part of things and but hates sports and just hates everything that school is about, you know, and you want to meet girls and stuff like that, and they want to have nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
After the first time I played the Battle of the Bands when I was 14 years old, the next day I was somebody, you know, so my drums gave me an identity. I was the kid that played the drums in school. You know, I was that kid. There was other kids that played drums in school, but you know, I see those same girls now that are married and grown up, their grandmothers, and then they, you know, one of them, my friend Alice Pecoraro, who her father, I used to go to his pet shop to buy the records.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Mike's Pet Shop or something.
Pete's
Pet Shop. Right,
yeah.
right.
She told me her and Ernestine Pescato, they were always like, we knew that you were going to do something with the drums because that's all you wanted to do. That's all you wanted to do. So I became that guy, that kid that was the musician that knew about music, that brought albums to school in English class. I would bring the Traffic album and the teacher would play it because this teacher was so like current to what kids are happening. He wanted to know what kids are what they're listening to. And he would play the Traffic album in English class.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. Mr. Harrington, he was really cool. And so the drum became my identity, Then when I got with Billy, see, the drum afforded me to go places, to go play with Mitch Ryder, to go to Baltimore, even though it turned out to be ugly.
That was so funny, man. You had some great stories about that experience, man.
Yeah. And, music is your mistress. Well, the drum is my girlfriend, know. And as a matter of fact, in the pandemic now, I have a life coach. I mentioned her in the book too, Allie. And I said, what's the worst part of the pandemic is I want to play the drums, in the band. I want to play. And, it's like, she's my girlfriend. And she goes, and my life coach says, and you can't get to your girlfriend, can you? I said, no, I can't. It's driving me crazy, So that's what the drums had become to me.
Yeah.
And like my father would always, I always used to say, like, if I make it, Dad, it's going to be really cool. And my father said, if it's a stiff, my young man, if it's a stiff, if you do this, if you do that. Yeah. I heard it all the time, So when I finally did make it, my dad became my biggest fan,
Okay. I was going to ask you about that.
So that drum took me closer to him, even though we had that rough time in the beginning, but then after my children were born and getting divorced twice, I realized, okay, maybe I was putting too much into my mistress where I should have been putting it into these other people instead of losing, like I was a big snot when I lived in Florida. I would walk into clubs. Now my second ex-wife, she would go out when I was on the road and go see this one band that used to play in town. She'd go out with her girlfriends. And when I came home, she would drag me to this place. And that was back when I was really boozing it up. And she would say, aren't they great? Aren't they great? Aren't they great? Now I'm the big drummer with Billy Joel. And I would say, no, they suck. They really are bad. And she would yell at me, why can't you just listen at face value? Why do you got to judge everything?
Yeah.
Well, that's who I am. That's, that's what we do in this business.
Yeah.
We tear things apart and we try to build them back together again, So that's why I say I probably should have been paying more attention to other people rather than the attention that I gave to the music. And I know Billy feels the same way because, some people got hurt. And like he says in the forward about like how, like families, we didn't intentionally want to hurt each other, but we did, because the music and being a part, being the drummer or being the piano player or being the guitar, that was that was what you wanted to do. That was who you are,
Have you given yourself a pat on the back? Because most people don't doesn't matter how many divorces they have. Most people just don't see that whatever issue it is. I mean, they don't see what, yours was, having this mistress, but most people don't usually get to do that. So I hope you're giving yourself a pat on the back for doing that. It's not an easy thing.
I wrote something on Facebook the other day and somebody, an old friend of mine said, yeah, Lib, don't hurt yourself patting yourself on the back. I got on the back and I said, I don't pat myself on the back. I have people that do that for me.
Right on, man. Well, that's cool that you finally, sort of came to that realization, man. But I can understand it, especially the thing, because it was your gateway to women. It was your gateway to popularity. It was your gateway even to your dad. And that was a fucking tough nut.
That was a tough nut. As a matter of fact, when I was playing with Felix Cavalieri, I had a dear friend, Richie Caruso. We grew up together, and he used to sit in front of my drum set when I practiced in my parents' basement, and called me Ginger Baker when I was trying to do double bass drums and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was playing with Felix once, and my father's in the front of the stage just cheering us on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My friend Richie walks up to my dad. He puts his arm around my father and looks up at me and goes, "You almost blew it, didn't you, Mr. DeVito? You almost blew it."
Well, it's true,
Yeah, as if to say, like, he didn't want that to happen.
Yeah.
But now he's looking at it like with big pride.
Yeah. That's good. But yeah, I can understand how you have this thing and then it's like, holy shit, if I lose this, if I don't have this thing, do all those other things go away?
Right. And that's what happened when the falling out came with Billy.
Yeah.
I wasn't that guy anymore.
Right.
So that was tough.
If you want to talk about that a little bit, are you okay talking about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you react initially? Like, okay, let me get the question articulated right. Hired Guns, that was a movie you're in?
Hired Gun, yeah.
Okay. If you look, how have you changed between then and now? Since you made, like, how has your thoughts about the whole situation changed, or how you frame it?
Well, you see, when I parted ways with Billy, he had his reasons, and he never talked to me about what happened. What I should have done was I should have gone into his driveway, stopped his car, and said, "What's going on here?" But I didn't do that because my Sicilian temper got the best of me. I was like, frig him. I don't want to know about it anymore. If he's going to do that to me, he could take a hike.
Yeah.
He'll never be as good as he was with us, the old band and myself and everything. So, and he's the same way, very stubborn. He's got a lot of people around him telling him how to do things and what he should do, and he trusts them to tell him the truth all the time. So if one of them says, "Well, Lib, I heard that Lib said this about something," he'd go, "Okay, well, that's not right, and I don't think it. Maybe we should use somebody else."
Right.
Instead of coming to me. So that's what happened. So when I got cut, the whole Billy Joel's drummer, the next day that didn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Bubble went pop.
Holy shit.
Because you are living in a bubble as Billy Joel's drummer. Luckily I had a lot of support from people and the companies that I do endorsements with, Promark Sticks and Evans Heads and Sabian Cymbals, all of them. So they were like, I did things for them along the way,
right,
that they never forgot.
Oh, so you had some goodwill in the bank.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That's great.
That was great. And then there was Big People still, going on there for a while with Jeff. And then I hooked up with Little Kids Rock. That was a big thing. That happened right after the falling out with Billy. And don't forget, I got divorced for the second time at the same time as the falling out with Billy.
Well, you know what? When you just said something, you said Billy Joel's drummer didn't exist anymore. Now the whole sort of falling up, fall from grace in Orlando. Yeah. Now that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
As soon as you said that, I'm like, fuck yeah. And that's a tough one because it's like 30 years of that and the places it took you, and all of a sudden it's like, you're falling without a net.
I developed friendships in Australia with people that every time I went there, these are the people I saw. Yeah. We hung out. If they were on tour, the guys in the Little River Band,
sure,
their crew were the same crew that we used in Australia. When they would come to America, I'd see them. Okay. It was like that. And then to think that I may never get to Australia again.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And then
when you got all that free time on your hand, your brain that takes you to every potential negative that is as a result of this. That's the bad thing that happens, man.
Yeah, and then you see your bank account like, man, you used to be able to pay off a credit card would come for X amount of dollars and be like, yeah, just pay it, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, walk into a store. Oh, I really like that. Can I have that, please? You know.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh my God, what am I going to do?
Yeah, sure.
My account is just like, you know, when it says your credit card bill is $2,000, the minimum fee is $35. my account is paying $35.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. Sure, man. Of course, yeah.
It's like,
wow.
You're going broke at the same time. You're not that person anymore. It's like,
and then your wife's splitting,
and she's getting it all because she wanted so much. I just said, you know what, just take it all, and I never want to ever see you again. You know?
Yeah. Holy
dumb thing. That was a dumb thing to do, but but at the time,
yeah.
I still had Billy, so you know that happened first.
Okay.
The divorce. As I was going through it, then the Billy thing happened.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because I remember you went and you wanted to try to work things out with her, and she wasn't having any of it.
Didn't want to have it. Didn't want to have it. I was sick of me.
Wow.
How could anybody get sick of me?
It's hard to believe, Liv.
Right. You know how many people just turned off the interview?
How did you, like, what was the tipping point, if you want to call it that made, because you were in that depression for a long time. What was the thing that, I guess, meeting your wife, well, let me take one other thing. You said there was another thing. Once you had hit the rock bottom, right when you met your current wife, Anna, you said,
yes,
I needed someone to love me for who I was. Liberty DeVito, not Billy Joel's drummer. Right. And you had finally gotten that out or something.
When me and my ex were separated, I would try to date, you know, and you'd be sitting across the table and it always came up like, what's Billy really like? You know?
Oh my God.
Like being the drummer and Billy Joel, you know, it's like the same shit all the time, you know? So when I met Anna, I was doing a fantasy camp that I almost didn't want to do.
I know.
Almost
what a great,
on it.
Yeah. That was so great.
Yeah. And, you know, she worked for David Fishoff, who at the time managed Ringo Starr. So Anna used to have meetings with Ringo and everything like that. It was like, she's hanging out with Ringo. What is she? She doesn't care if Billy Joel's drummer.
Right.
She doesn't really care about it.
Which is great.
You know? In
hindsight. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, she was in on a lot of the end of the Billy and divorce thing too. She was there to hold me up, you know, and then meeting her. And then like I had 3 girls at the time that dad's got another girl and she's almost our age.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know, that was really hard too.
Yeah.
You know?
That had to be tough. But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so that was really, really hard to do, you know. And there was times when, like in the book, I think I explained the dream that I had with that Billy turns into Satan,
and you're carrying him from falling out of the airplane or something.
Yeah,
that was pretty wild, man.
I used to dream when the breakup between me and Billy happened. I used to constantly have a dream that I'm outside the arena. And I can hear the band start and I can't get in.
Holy shit.
All the time. Really weird.
That is weird, but you know, what's not weird that goes to our heads, to be honest with you, at some point, you know?
Yeah.
Then you said I needed to get over the bitterness and hurt I still had for Billy, not harboring it. It was time to let it go. What made you finally come to that conclusion? And how did you find the forgiveness you needed to let him go, to let this thing go?
Well, of course, like I said before, my life coach, you know, she was the one that walked me through it. You know, the first thing she said to me was like, you know, it's Billy. This is what he does. And it could have been you. It could have been anybody. It just so happened to fall on you this time that he did what he did. So
Yeah, because in the book you talk about how he cut other people,
all the time he did it.
you know,
But when
and
he cuts you,
yeah,
you know, it's like if I turn you off right now, somebody will ask you, anybody ever do that to you before? You know, and you might think no, or you might think, well, you know, somebody did that once. You know, maybe it was something I said, or you know, but yeah. So she showed me that this is a pattern that he has, that
yeah,
he does.
yeah,
That's when in the book, when as I was writing it, I wanted to stand in his shoes and try to understand why he does that. You
yeah.
know? I mean, the man has had a long career. We went from nothing to he's probably the most popular single artist. Who I don't know any other one.
Not
Yeah,
certainly in the
Elton,
top 5. I
but
mean, you know,
you
yeah,
know, and he's writing all his songs. Billy Elton's got help. The
yeah.
Eagles have help. They
Well,
all have help.
that
John
was
and
pretty
Paul.
impressive when you talked about that. Like at one point, he needed 9 songs or something, and he just came in with them. And
Yeah.
I thought that was cool of you. You gave him that credit. You said, "Hey," and you mentioned these things. You said he doesn't have any help doing this. It was pretty amazing.
You know, it's funny. He explained to me what it's like to write. You know, I asked him, "How do you write those songs?" He goes, "I think about life as it is, or how I wish it was." That's how he writes those songs. You know.
Interesting.
Then he told me, he says, "You know, it's like, you know, when you go to take a shit and it just doesn't want to come out, and then all of a sudden the first one comes out, and then it's like, then they all start flowing."
It's called a turtle's head.
Yeah,
We're hitting new lows on here today, Lib.
Oh, we are. Yeah, we are. There are no more drummers allowed on the guitar show.
Once you forgave him, I gotta believe a huge weight was lifted off your shoulders.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It
Carrying that.
was huge. You know, I actually forgave my ex-wife. I remember telling my life coach, I said, I wanna let go of that hatred I have for her.
Right.
You know, and she was like amazed, like this is a giant step for you.
It is. It's for anybody.
Like when I met Anna, I was boozing it up like a nut.
Right.
Because now I'm 52 years old and I'm hanging around with girls that are 27
Right.
and trying to keep up with them. You know, and I was able to, of course, but you know, I'm throwing up on my shoes now, you know.
Right.
It's terrible, you know. So I had to give, it was all because of I'm harboring this anger inside. I remember being in bars and talking. If somebody played something on the jukebox, like a rap song or something like that, I would go off, like just go off, because now I hated music. I hated everything about it. I hate what was happening, what was new, you know.
Sure, man. So you really cleansed yourself by forgiving all these people.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Once that weight is off, it's like, yeah, you know, hey.
Yeah, you don't realize it, but when you forgive somebody, it's for you. You don't, and it's hard to see that ahead.
Oh, it's not for them.
Yeah, right. It's totally.
I actually make them feel guilty when you forgive them. You know, I forgive you for what you did. Really? You're not mad at me anymore? No, not mad at you. You know? I mean, when I sat with Billy, when we sat down, the first thing he said to me is like, "Why did you want to have this meeting? You know, nostalgia? What? I'm done. You know, the piano. I wrote him. I said the piano drum feud has got to be over. We were having a feud back and forth.
Yeah.
You know.
Wow.
Terrible. And it was like, you know what it was like too? It was like, I don't know if you ever had a girlfriend or a wife or something like that, and you love this person beyond what you ever thought you could love a person. And then the next thing you know, something happens where you're splitting up and you start to talk bad about the person. Like, she was, you know, this, that, and the other thing. And she used to rag about this all the time.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, while you're telling something bad to somebody about the person, it's hurting you inside because you still love that person. That's what it was like doing interviews about Billy. You know, it was like, he's such a cheap bastard. He's just you know, it's just and I'm thinking, we had such a relationship. I mean, the songs alone.
Well, yeah, you could just, you guys made a lot of great music together. I mean,
yeah, I
a ridiculous amount.
I had people writing me and they were like, we were so glad that you reconciled with Billy because we didn't want to think that the music that our generation grew up with ended like this.
Yeah.
No, it didn't. You know, now it's like we're buddies again.
That's good.
And now,
man.
because of the book, everybody knows what I did for him.
That's good.
Which, when I read that, when he sent it to me,
right.
you know, I teared up, man. It was like, wow.
The forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was really cool. Let's talk about, you've been sober, you mentioned in the book, at this point for 16 years.
Yep.
If you're comfortable, can you talk about what was the final straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak, that you sort of knew, I gotta stop?
Well, I had tried this sobriety for a while,
Yeah.
you know, but in the past, I didn't have the support of people, because the people around me, like my ex-wives and stuff like that, were continuing to drink and stuff. And we went out to dinner, friends were there, and they would go. One time when I stopped drinking for about like 5 years or something like that. I remember going to Greece on a vacation with my 2 daughters and my ex-wife, and they were making homemade wine. And I was like, yeah, I'd like to try that, you know. So you start out with a little couple of sips of homemade wine, and the next thing you know, you're drinking magnums of Valpolicella, which was my favorite. You know, so you know, I had stopped for a while, maybe a couple of years, when I moved to Florida. You know, because I thought I'm going to get myself in shape. It's going to be great. You know, stop drinking. And I'm out at a bar once watching this band, and somebody spills a drink on me. This woman is smashed, and she just like a rum and coke all over me. And I'm wearing a suit or something like that. And I looked at her and I said, okay, so you people want to see what it's really like to be a drunk? Watch this.
Oh,
Bam!
my God.
I went right back to it. And that eventually led to the second divorce.
Yeah. Holy shit.
You know, yeah. Because I had it with everything then. It was like, I didn't want to be in Florida anymore. It just was terrible. I remember playing in a bar with this band that I had called the Fun Club down there. It was great musicians, great band. Charlie DeChant, who plays with Hall & Oates, played sax in there. Tommy Calton, who played with George
Tommy
Porter
Talton?
Tommy Calton, you know Tommy?
Oh, no, I thought you said Tommy Talton from
No,
Atlanta.
Tommy Calton.
No.
He played with George Porter from the Meters and stuff like
wow.
that. It was that kind of band. And I remember when I started drinking again, at the end of the night, when the clubs closed at 1 o'clock, at 5 minutes to 1, the waitress used to come up to me and bring me 6 glasses of wine because it was the last call. You know?
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was like,
Wow.
it got to that point. And then I met Anna, you know. And in the beginning, it was fun. We were partying and stuff like that. But then the Billy thing happened, and then everything turned ugly.
Right.
And what happened was, one morning, we woke up, and it was after a bad night. And Anna said, "Look, you have a choice to make. It's either me, or you can go on drinking." And I said, "You want me to stop?" And she said, "Yes." I said, "When?" She said, "Now would be nice." I said, "Okay." Done. Because I learned my lesson. I had lost so much already. When I met Anna, we moved together. The only thing I took with me was my record collection and my gold albums. Basically, that was it.
Yeah.
That's all I have from my past. Me and Jeff Carlisi, we talk about that all the time. You know, I go to Jeff's house. He's been married to Debbie, only woman he's been married to for many years. And he'll have his first guitar that he ever got leaning up against the chair. And he'll go, "Yeah, that's the guitar my parents bought me when I wanted to play guitar." And I still, "See, Jeff, you've been married to the same woman and you still have your shit. I don't have my shit anymore. It's gone." You know, I left those houses with a bag of my clothes.
Yeah.
That was it. You know? So you lose everything.
So she basically said it's me or boo. And did you just stop cold turkey? Did you work with a program?
No, cold turkey. And then I got the life coach to keep it going.
Okay.
You know, because I believe in AA.
Yeah.
It's great. My buddy Ricky Bird, you know Ricky, he played with Joan Jett and the Blackhearts.
Sure.
He's he's a counselor now, actually, at a treatment center.
Right.
Richie Supa in there. I talk about Richie
Can I
Supa.
tell you a funny story about Richie Supa?
Yeah.
This is really weird. When I moved with my ex-wife to Florida many, many, many years ago, I hear this guy. I think I lived on the second floor, and I hear somebody playing guitar. Well, long story short, Richie Supa lived underneath me in this apartment, but he was getting a divorce. I remember from his wife. He had a young child. This is, I've been with my current wife 28 years, so this is almost 30 years ago.
His son is big now. Yeah,
I'm sure. Yeah, but I couldn't believe it. I'm reading that, and I said, yeah, it was so funny, man, seeing that. It's a small world.
Yeah. So, I believe in AA. It does wonders, but I'm not that kind of guy that goes to meetings and things like that. Like I talk about me being a lone wolf, like when I had a motorcycle, I'd just go by myself. I wouldn't be part of a group or anything. So finding the life coach, Allie, she actually had married me and Anna. She was the officiator.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And she was great. Any problems I had, she would talk me down. She talked me off the ledge a million times. I remember one time having a really bad argument with Anna about something and going out on the coldest day of the winter one year and just going out and walking at night, freezing, thinking about how many bars I will pass before I return home. And I was going to call Allie, and I was going to when she answered the phone, I was just going to say, just say, don't do it. That's the kind of person that she is, that she has that influence on me because she really has done wonders with me. That got me over my anger with my dad, a lot of stuff.
But so I was going to ask you this. When you have a childhood like you did, because I had a similar childhood, you are not really the kind of person that's open to help because the people that were supposed to sort of help you probably didn't. So that becomes your norm. Right. For me anyway. And I was going to ask you, did you have a hard time? Because now you're working with this woman, Allie, you obviously have been able to get to accept help. Was it tough for you most of your life to reach out and ask for help?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Really hard.
Yeah.
It still is now. I mean, like during the pandemic, my wife, Anna, tells me, she says, I can tell when there's something on your mind. And then she goes, you should call Allie. And the first thing I say is like, I don't want to talk to her about it. I don't want to talk to anybody about it. I'll deal with it myself. I can't talk to her about it. Yeah. Like I'm like that. But then eventually you talk.
Yeah. Well, that's good though. That's the healthy thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the healthy thing to do because I was like that for much of my life. I'm not now at all, but I was. And it's not that you're above it. You just like that word is kind of like not in your dictionary.
Well, right. Everything stems from your childhood. You heard that a long time ago and you thought, that's ridiculous. Yeah. But now you realize like, my parents, the way they were to me, the one memory that I have as a young child of 5 years old was getting smacked in the face because I dropped a cannoli off the table, which I could barely reach the top to, and said, fuck, when it hit the floor. They hit me.
Yeah.
Boom.
Can you imagine that, man? And I mean, like
my little one saying fuck right now.
No, but can you imagine like getting upset even at somebody for dropping a cannoli on the floor like a 5-year-old? It's like you kind of expect that.
Right. My dad had a spring on his arm, like anything that he thought was wrong, bang. And then he would ask the question later.
Yeah. But you made up with him though before he passed?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because you had that photo of you guys in the book that was nice to see.
Yeah.
Towards the end.
He went through a lot of shit when he was growing up. Military, crazy stuff.
Yeah,
crazy stuff. It was a different generation. Yeah. With each generation, things change. Attitudes change. How we think changes. What's really weird is that when I met Anna, she's 25 years younger than I am. So there's a 25-year gap there. The way I think is totally different than the way 25-year-olds think.
Yeah.
Then there's my girls who are now 40, 36, and 32. They think different than I do. So I feel that gap. And now I got to 4-year-old, what's going to be
that
like,
like?
when she grows up? What's
What
it
is
gonna be
that like? What is that
Okay.
like?
It's so great.
Yeah.
It's so great. The first thing I noticed is how much I missed with the other girls because we made an album, went on the road, made an album, went on the road.
Okay.
This is like I can remember now with this one standing in the kitchen, looking at her sitting on the floor, laying on the floor because she couldn't walk or anything yet. She's still an infant, and then turning around again, and she's sitting upright. It's like, how did that happen?
Oh, okay.
All
Yeah.
that stuff that you miss, all the words that they say. It's so great to be around. I'm around her every day.
That's not. So you got a second chance, man.
I did.
That's
and,
really.
and likewise, so did Billy.
Yeah.
Because now he has two.
Wow.
One is a little older than May, and one is younger than May.
That's wild.
Where when he was with Christy and he had Alexa,
right?
Alexa was younger than Tori but older than Marielle. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
That's why I say our lives kind of paralleled, even though we weren't talking to each other.
Yeah.
Younger women,
Wild how that happens. I want to ask you some. You've seen some. I'm just going to shift back and forth a little bit. I want to talk just about music for a little bit. You've seen some great shows, man.
Yeah.
Tell me the 2 or 3 best concerts you saw.
One of the best, and I say this and people are amazed, is Earth, Wind, and Fire. I saw them at the Nassau Coliseum. It was back when Doug Henning was doing the magic tricks for them.
Yeah, I remember that.
And they fell out of they went to a pyramid and they disappeared at the end of the show.
That's pretty cool.
But I had never seen that much energy, from a band in that concert situation. I saw other bands too earlier. One of the most amazing bands that I saw was the first time I ever saw Chicago. It was at the Action House, and there was still Chicago Transit Authority.
Wow.
And their first album had just come out, and there was 2 stages in the Action House, and they were on the small stage. They weren't on the big stage, they were on a small stage off to the side.
They had that little
that was
fans.
Probably their first tour on that album. But they were great. Hendrix, of course, was like
it was like who I read in the book. You had like everyone opened for him or something. I couldn't believe the names on that bill.
Yeah. Soft Machine, Janis Joplin.
Yeah.
And the Big Brother and the Whole Company and Chambers Brothers. Yeah, that was insane.
Where was that? Where was that?
That was at the Singer Bowl in Queens.
Okay.
Over by the tennis stadium now.
Wimbledon? Wimbledon.
Yeah, the guy's name. What's
Mac? I know Arthur Ashe. What the hell's the stadium there?
That's it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Sorry, Wimbledon. That's in England.
England.
Yeah, right around the corner.
You know who else was great? The Police. They were really good the first time I saw them. Man, I saw them with horns too. They had horns, just the 3 of them and like 3 horns. It was incredible.
He's a different drummer, man. Stuart Copeland. He's got his own thing going there, man.
This is what I say. I do a lot of stuff. Do this one benefit thing with Jeff and Danny Seraphine plays drum. We do double drums. And people ask me, well, what do you think of Danny? Because he doesn't get the recognition that he should get. Even though Buddy Rich did say that was one rock drummer that he really liked was Danny Seraphine.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah. But Danny Seraphine did for jazz and rock, combining the two, what Stuart Copeland did with rock and reggae.
Yeah.
They combined the two and created this new thing.
Yeah.
Which is really cool to create a new thing.
Yeah.
But what's really cool, and I talk to this man, I just adore this man all the time. It's Bernard Purdie.
Sure.
How many people have a shuffle?
The Purdie's
your name.
Yeah, that's badass, man. Everybody knows.
I got stuck in an airport with him once, and he told me how that came about, man. Unbelievable.
Yeah. What a maestro, man. What a badass.
Yeah. And what a great human being. I didn't know that he was like engaged to Aretha Franklin at one time.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's wild.
Yeah.
Tell me, this is not a fair question because the choices are so big. Favorite musicians you've enjoyed playing with?
Well, we did a lot of musicians on the Bridge album. I have a yearbook from when I graduated high school, and in it says, "Keep your head and keep practicing, and one day you'll play with Steve Winwood." Because I love.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, yeah. So I showed it to Winwood. You know,
Mhm.
so yeah, playing with him was so good. Playing with Jeff,
Yeah.
is great because he's such a great player. But playing with Ed King,
Yeah.
Skinner, Ed King,
Hmm.
you know, he had a great thing, and I'll probably throw this into the audio book because it's not in the book. We're sitting at dinner in Atlanta. We were doing one of Jeff's camps that he was doing, and we're sitting across, and he's telling me war stories about Skinner. You know, like now when Ronnie Van Zant got drunk, what he turned into, and you know what one time Ronnie broke a bottle and put it up to Ed's neck, and all this stuff. Yeah.
Holy crap.
So I said to him, I said, "Wow, it sounds like, you know, I toured with the Beatles and you toured with the Rolling Stones." He said, "No, I toured with the Rolling Stones. You toured with Pat Boone."
Yeah, that's even a wider gap. That's funny, man.
Low blow.
That's funny. Wow. Top 3 desert island discs.
Oh, easy. Meet the Beatles.
Uh-huh.
Introducing the Beatles. and probably Sgt. Pepper.
That's funny, man.
No, really, if you wanted to split them up, I love there's some albums I can listen to the whole thing all the way through, like Silk Degrees by Boss Skaggs. I love that record.
Great record.
You know, Traffic. I love, you know, put it on the first side and let it go all the way. And there's blues albums like that one.
I'm gonna buy that one. You don't have to be black to like the blues or something.
Love the blues.
I love the blues. Yeah, I gotta buy that. Just on the cover alone.
You know, there's so many of those great ones. But Resurrection of Pig Boy Crabshaw by Paul Butterfield.
Great
that
record,
one is like just great.
It was nice being a New York guy when you were talking about walking through the village.
Yeah.
That was so, because it was such a special place during that time, you know.
Yeah, you could hear music coming out windows, people practicing, and
it's just a special time to be down there, man.
Fashion,
everything, man. Just the amount of the music stores, record stores, and everything down there, and you know, loose joints in Washington Square Park. You know, that was it was a.
I'm reading right now. I'm reading this book here. It's George Martin.
Oh, okay.
Volume. Jeff was reading the same thing. He actually sent a book for me, and he talks about the Beatles when he first meets them in the studio. Their work ethic. Is that what it's
ethic? Work ethic.
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 That's the way it was back then. You know, like to be a musician and to be recognized by your peers or whatever, you had to really work your ass off.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it is today, you know. Some kids, you see them play and they might have great chops, but they just don't have that feel.
Yeah.
I don't have that feel of like starving and eating a slice of pizza off of somebody else's tray that just left, you know.
Well, you talk about that at the end of the book, about the passion that you have, that you need, and you know you can do a paradiddle like perfectly, but if you're not into it, it's probably not. It's going to suck. It's not going to do anything for anybody.
Right. I always say that there's certain things that that drummers do, and I know guitar players do the same things, and there's a lot of them that are show-off stuff, and so many drummers can do them. And I think to myself, if they're that hard to do, why can so many drummers do it?
Right.
You know? And I never went for doing the things that everybody else does, like that John Bonham thing that he first came out with that, you know, that
totally
hand between the foot and everything. Everybody does that.
Yeah.
You know? I never did that. You know, I said that to a friend of mine once.
Drummer.
I said that to a friend of mine once. I said, you know, I can't do that thing that Bonham does. He goes, why would you have to?
Yeah, like how would that serve you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's so many things that you learn when you take lessons and stuff like that, that you really don't. Why are you doing that? Everybody else does it. You got to be different.
Well, you talked about too in the book, and I don't remember who you were referring to, but one of the best lessons you learned was to lay back and learn how to support the song and
Oh yeah.
create space for others and not take it up.
Yeah. A guy another one who's very sick right now and doesn't look like he's doing well. Walter Bailey, when I played in Baltimore,
Yeah.
and he turned to me, he goes, "This is what you got to do, man. Just hold your sticks real loose and just lay back, man, and just feel that groove." He was a bass player, and he was telling me how to play the drums. It's like, wow, that's really good.
Yeah, you talked about that meant so much to you.
Most people that turned me on to playing and listening to different music weren't musicians. They're like people that just loved music, Like I talk about the shoemaker in Seaford.
Oh yeah.
That we used to, he loved
Yeah, the guy used to hang out in his close the shop down and have lunch with him or something like that, right? Yeah.
We talk about music all the time. He loved music. Loved that organ jazz like Jimmy Smith and stuff like that. I wouldn't have known who that was if he didn't say it.
That's great music to listen to. I love listening to that kind of stuff, actually. Jimmy Smith.
That's my favorite jazz, that bebop stuff, I don't like the new stuff. I can't even tell where one is,
Tell me the best decision you ever made.
Oh, my best decision I ever made was to have children. I think that's my greatest achievement is my daughters. 4 of them. No son.
Yeah, I was thinking, man, you must have been bad in a past life or something. Daughters are tough, man. I've got one and I'm overwhelmed. She's older now, but still.
Yeah, they were a challenge, but they're good now,
Oh yeah, thank God.
Like I say in the book, after you play on a song that says, "I don't care what you say anymore. This is my life. Go ahead with your own life and leave me alone." Yeah. And they can throw it up to you.
Yeah. That's right. You said that. That was good.
All the things you did when you were a kid, and then they're doing them, and then they know that you did it.
Yeah, that's right.
That's hard.
It is hard. Tell me what makes you happy today, and how's that different from what made you happy in the past?
Well, what makes me happy today is, of course, my little one. She makes me happy. I can't believe I'm 70 years old and I have she's about to turn 4 in February.
You got no shortage of energy for 70, man. I'll tell you.
Let me tell you something. I told my wife when she was born, I said, I'm getting older, but this little girl is going to get everything that the other one's got. I'll ride her around the house on my shoulders. We'll walk for a long time. She's on my back, piggybacks. I play, tickle. We do all these things, She keeps me young. Like the other ones really kept me live with music. When they got older and they would play music for me, like, Dad, listen to this, it keeps you current.
Yeah. So your daughter makes sure. How's that different from what made you happy in the past?
Well, happy in the past, I put the music first.
Yeah. Okay.
Music came first. I loved them, but I was that guy.
Yeah.
I was Billy
your mistress called.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Man. I give you so much credit for recognizing that and changing. It's just not an easy thing to do. Some people are just, that's just their deal and they don't realize that. All right. This is a tough one. What do you like most about yourself? And then what would your wife say she likes most about you?
What do I like most about myself?
Yeah.
What do I like most about myself? My name? I don't know.
No, come on, man. You got to dig.
What do I like most about myself?
Yeah.
I don't, maybe that I did recognize all that stuff that I wrote in the book that soon enough before I left this planet.
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough to do that. And the fact that I'm open to learn more, I'm not closed off. My life coach always tells me, she goes, you're still growing, Sometimes I look
Huh.
at my wife and I go, I don't want to change anymore. I'm going to stay exactly the way I am. The other day we were talking and something came up and I said, you know what? This is what I'm going to do from now on. I know that that guy is still in there, but I'm going to do everything I possibly can to keep him down there,
Right.
you know, because that guy doesn't go away.
Right.
He's
Of
still
course.
there.
Yeah, of course.
You know, I mean, I'm not going to be like, who's that artist, Pretty Little Cloud? What was his name? Ross, something Ross.
Was it after 1970?
Yeah.
I won't
Yeah.
know.
He was on TV. He used to have his own show. He used to paint.
Oh, Bob Ross.
Bob Ross.
Yeah, yeah.
Supposedly he was a
Clouds.
Vietnam veteran that was like
Was he?
killing people.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then he's like, Pretty Little Cloud.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
happened to
that's
him? Maybe he get hit in the
Yeah.
head with a brick or something?
right. I don't
You know?
know. God,
But
I'm
yeah, no.
surprised.
That old guy, that the other guy, you
Yeah.
know, like if somebody gets me mad, I'm going to go after him.
Right.
But I'll do everything I possibly can to be, you know, a better husband or a better father, you know.
Good for you, man.
Yeah. So,
That's awesome. For ability to change.
yeah.
Tell me your best childhood memory.
My best childhood memory. Like how young?
You pick, man, whatever you want.
My best child, I remember like things like getting my first transistor radio at like 8
Oh,
years
sure.
old.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that was like a transporter. You know, you see the Beam Me Up, Scotty.
Sure,
This was
man.
like at night by the pillow when you're going to sleep and listening to. There was only like 3 stations in New York. Remember ABC?
The ABC, yeah.
What else was there? MCA. MCA.
And
Good Guys.
NBC.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
or NYS or something like that with
so-
news.
You know, that's where you first heard the Beatles.
Yeah.
That's and I remember hearing the Zombies. You know, She's Not There.
Yeah. A
And
great
tell her no. It's like, what? Who it is? What is this coming
Yeah.
in my house? You know,
Yeah.
the
Well, that was-
transistor radio was a big deal for me.
That was another good memory that when you were talking about when FM first came out, WNEW.
Yeah,
That was
my-
like,
my parents' stereo had the little switch you could turn to FM. You know, it had a big console in the living room,
yep.
and that's where I first heard the Vanilla Fudge and went,
Right.
"What is that? Oh my god!" You know.
Yeah.
You know, I talked to my wife about it. She's a real U2 freak.
Mhm.
That's her Beatles is U2.
Okay. Sure.
But you know, I talk about the Beatles and I tell her, I said, you can't imagine what it was like to first hear "I Want to Hold Your Hand" on the radio. The first time you hear it, you know, 13 years old, and I'm hearing this dun, 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 dun. What is that? Or the first time you heard Jimi Hendrix,
Yeah.
Purple Haze.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what
That
is
was-
that?
Yeah.
You know, and all those groups that came out at that time in the 60s, Bam, Cream, Hendrix, Traffic, Blue Cheer, The Dead. I went to a Dead concert. I didn't dig The Dead. I went to a Dead concert with my friend. It was the best time I ever had.
Because you took acid, probably.
Yeah, you dancing with girls in the aisle. Yeah.
I saw them upstate one time too. Similar thing. I
Yeah.
wasn't a deadhead, but it was a great time. Favorite place you traveled? I guess is it Russia then? Because you've been all over the world.
That was the most exciting. My favorite place to go though on a tour, if I saw Australia on there,
Yeah.
that was it. You know, I loved Australia. You know, first time we went was in '76.
Oh my God! Wow.
Right
So
from
right
the-
after you, like a couple of years after you started playing with Billy.
It was the Turnstiles tour.
Yeah.
Yeah. We went gold in Australia, which was only 35,000 copies sold.
You
And
sell
go
35,000 copies now. You're like a hero.
gold. Yeah. I know.
Seriously. Yeah. It
Yeah.
doesn't exist. Most difficult thing you've had to do or toughest decision you've had to make?
Toughest decision I had to make was, let's see, toughest decision I had to make was, I guess, not leaving Billy when I probably should have walked away, and
Yeah.
I didn't. You know, I can remember being when he was really into his boozing days and taking it on stage. You know, I remember telling the other guys in the band, like, I can't take this anymore. I can't stand watching him killing himself, destroying himself. You know, and I remember once I'm on the bus saying this. I can't stand this anymore. I don't like doing this anymore. And we had Becca Bramlett was one of the background singers on the tour, and she said to me, "If you don't like it, why don't you go home?" I was like, "Yeah, I could do that, couldn't I?"
Yeah.
But it was like I'm too afraid to do that.
Understandably so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
funniest thing that's happened to you on stage or in the studio? You gotta have something good for this, Lib.
the funniest thing that ever happened on stage was, well, there was a couple of things. One is just funny. We had hydraulics on one of the tours, on the River of Dreams tour.
Okay.
So when you walked in the Coliseum, you didn't see anything except a blank stage. Everything was blank, right?
Mm-hmm.
When the show would start and the house music was starting to play, some of the instruments would come up.
From the underneath.
Like Billy's piano would come up.
Okay.
All the amps were under the stage. The way you heard the guitar was through a grating, you know,
Okay.
because the monitors and everything were under the stage. You didn't see monitors or anything.
Okay.
Drums were down low. We start the first song, and then the drums would come up. We're doing No Man's Land. It was from the River of Dreams album.
Okay.
And we started. I'm waiting, and the drums. I'm under the stage where the crew is. Nothing's moving. I'm playing. All of a sudden, the crew comes over. The stage will not. My riser will not go up.
Oh my God.
Not go up. They're underneath, like laying on their backs, trying to push it up with their feet and everything. And I see Billy at the time was playing guitar, you know,
Okay.
he's faking a guitar and
Right.
singing out front. He's looking down in this hole, just laughing really hard because this thing wasn't going. It was a Spinal Tap moment because
So-
at the very end of the song, whoop, finally I came up.
That's funny, man.
But some of the other things that were really funny were at times when I wasn't wearing, I wore glasses all the time,
Sure.
but sometimes I would like get so close to my head with the drumstick that I would hit my glasses and they would go flying off. Right?
Oh.
And I can't see
Yeah.
without my glasses on. So, and then I got to go find them, or somebody's got to go find them, you know, without somebody else stepping on them.
Right.
So I get these little headbands, you know, straps.
Oh, to hold your glasses on. Yeah.
To hold my glasses on. So now it's like when I hit them, I'm playing around and I hit them and my glasses go like this and they're stuck like that. And I'm playing. I can't, what am I going to do? I have to play the rest of the song. Like
Right.
this.
That's funny, man.
You know?
You guys seem like you had a really good time on stage. You had a lot of stories in there. Seemed like you had a blast.
Well, we did. You know, somebody had mentioned once to Richie Canada, he told me this, that somebody had said, you know, you guys, you joke around a lot and you really like take it like really lackadaisical or whatever, you know, like it's nothing. But when you hit the stage, it's like time to get serious. You're having fun up there, but it's like, it's serious time. Yeah. We always felt that it was the battle of the bands. We were in the battle of the bands, no matter who we played with.
All the time.
You know, we played at Madison Square Garden at Don Henley was having a benefit concert for, I guess, Walden Woods.
Okay.
And it was Billy, Sting, and Henley.
Right.
And the big thing was that Sting did not, Henley wanted us to go on first because we were the New York guys. And Sting was like, I am not going on after Billy Joel playing Madison Square Garden. There's no way, you know? And so he went on first, then we went on, and the whole we shook the house so badly that the club that's way in the back of the garden upstairs, the bottles were falling off the shelves because it suspended the garden. You know, it's above the Long Island Railroad and above the subways, so it's suspended. It bounced up and down. So when Henley went on, people said that people started to leave. You know. So I mean,
because most people came from the city to see you guys. Yeah. Okay.
Because that's we when we find out that we're going to play with these guys, and we only have to play like a half hour, and we could just do the steak and potatoes.
Right.
You got to be kidding me.
So these you're giving 150%. Yeah. You're burning it up.
Yeah.
And the whole band was like that. Everybody was on board with that, just to
Oh,
rip
yeah.
it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Battle of the
Man.
bands all the time.
I
Yeah.
like that, man. Battle of the bands all the time. Hey, two more questions, Lib. And I thank you so much for being so cool and
Yeah, this is
for
fine.
sharing all this stuff. Likewise. Most important lesson life has taught you.
Most important lesson life has taught me is to always be nice, because the people, that the people that you meet on the way up, you're going to see them on the way down again. And I've always been nice to those people. It's really weird sometimes, though. The people that I met when we were on the top, they'll text me or something on Facebook and say, "You don't remember me?" And it's like, I met so many people during that time. I don't remember. I can't believe you don't remember. It's like, I'm sorry, man. I don't remember you.
Yeah.
But the people that I knew before, I know all of them. I still know all of them.
Well, I was pretty, just when you were naming the kids that you grew up with, I was like, that's not normal. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, most people don't remember that,
Right.
I mean, every little thing. That's really, cool. It's it's
nice, funny.
Man.
There was one kid that used to bump into me in school all the time, like just bump in, because I guess he didn't like me. I went to a reunion for the school. He did the same thing, bumped into me.
No, you're kidding me.
Yeah. Didn't say anything, just bumped into me and walked. But now it's like you look at him like an idiot.
Now you can feel sorry for the guy, though.
Yeah, right.
And, when you're a kid, you're like, you bastard. Yeah. By the way, I just want to tell you the part of the book, which I'm sure was tough for you to write, about your brother.
Yeah.
You did a wonderful, wonderful job with that, man. It was very, very moving. And it was.
Yeah, that was tough. That was a tough time.
Yeah, I'm sure. I can't imagine. I mean, it was, but you did a great job with that. You couldn't have done it any better. It was very real and it was very emotional at the same time. So,
thanks.
you did. Yeah, I thought it was very moving. And last question, the biggest change in your personality over the last 10 years, and how much of that change has been intentional and how much is just a part of aging?
Biggest change, I guess, is being happy all the time, trying to be happy all the time. I try not to listen to the news. I only listen to the news if I'm in the car. That's the only time. I don't read the paper. I don't do that because I don't want to get wound up on that stuff, because that stuff really winds me up.
I agree. I haven't read a paper in 35 years for that reason.
Yeah. So my attitude has changed that way. And it's like, I want things to be happy.
Yeah.
Me and Jeff were talking about the pandemic. And he says, we're at the age we're supposed to be in our golden years. It's like, I didn't plan on spending my golden years locked up in a house.
I know.
This stinks.
Yeah.
But we always by the time we're done with our conversation, there's always something we're laughing about.
That's cool.
My mother always said that she felt sorry for people who didn't have a sense of humor. And she didn't know how they would make it through life.
And your mom had a tough life.
Oh, very tough.
Yeah. I think she had to put up with a lot. And, the whole story, the dynamic between her and your dad.
Yeah.
I think she seemed like a woman who was just a very loving person. And especially with her kid, was willing to really, put up with a lot to take care of her kids in the best manner that she possibly could.
Yeah, she did. She did.
Yeah.
She was a great mom. And, and in the end, Dad turned out to be a great dad too.
Right.
I realized that, hey, I had a roof over my head all those years.
And a dresser drawer, literally.
And a dresser drawer.
I was reading that. I was like, holy shit.
I heard that Howard Stern, it was the same thing. He had the same type of beginning.
Yeah. He lived in a dresser drawer too. Well, good for him, man. It's the American dream.
Going from a dresser drawer.
From a dresser drawer to that. Man, let me tell people where to find you. And thank you for everything, man. I really appreciate it. It's really nice talking to you. It was so nice reading your book. And first of all, everybody get this book. It's called Liberty, Life, Billy, and the Pursuit of Happiness by Liberty DeVito. It's really easy to read. It's very compelling. It's entertaining. And it's a feel-good book. He's very warm and heartfelt in there. And it's a nice book. Please get it and read it. Also, once as Lib said, whatever comes back to normal, whatever normal is. Look up online the Lords of 52nd Street, and look up the Slim Kings, because that's Lib's band and he plays and tours with them,
Yeah.
where you could see him. And also, if you want to get the book, check it out. Get it at hudsonmusic.com, or it's on Amazon as well. Anything else, man? What are you doing? Any clinics booked for next year, or is that too? Yeah.
No, I've done a couple of virtual ones, but it's not the same. I mean, it's hard. And the Lords have played before it got cold here in New York. We played those parking lot gigs.
Oh, did you?
They come in the cars, and instead of clapping, they beep the horns.
Where did you play?
Out by Jones Beach.
Yeah, sure.
Out there. We did one out there. We did one in Connecticut somewhere, in a
so
mall
funny.
shopping center in the parking lot.
Wow, that's
It's
wild.
insane, but it's like, people are trying hard to get
Yeah.
live music to play. It's like everybody misses it. Everybody misses it.
Have a lot of venues closed in the city?
Yeah. I know Billy has given a lot of money to a famous jazz club that was in Manhattan to try to stay open.
Which one? 55 Club? Smalls?
Something like that.
Yeah. Smalls, maybe.
And you hear about the clubs like that might not be able to make it if this doesn't end really soon. Because I don't think they're getting any assistance from the government or anything.
No, none, zero. We had some bunch of clubs down here in Tampa. Not that this is the mecca of music, but there's a couple of pretty nice clubs, and we're big. Guys like Jorma Kalkinen and play Hot Tuna. Buddy Guy, and they're gone now. It's unfortunate.
We play in Tampa.
Where do you play?
The Lords play at Ruth Eckerd.
Yeah, of course. Well, next time you're here, you'll be getting a phone call from me for tickets.
And we played. There's a little theater.
Capitol Theater in Clearwater.
Yes.
Capitol Theater. Yeah, both of those are really nice places to play.
The Capitol
really
Theater
nice.
that was on that last run we did. We were on fire, and we actually played in the street there too once at one of their street festivals.
I've seen shows there. I actually saw a couple of shows.
That was pretty cool too.
Yeah, it's cool, and it's a nice little area there to go sit outside and
really nice.
Yeah, it's
really
pretty
nice.
cool there. I think that's in Clearwater.
Yeah,
and Ruth Eckerd's in St. Pete.
Yeah, I have a friend that lives down there, Jules. She started this thing. She put out a coffee table book of drummers, because she's a photographer and she always found it hard to take pictures of drummers.
Yeah.
She traveled the world and did a coffee table book and has like 525 drummers in there.
That's pretty cool.
Bios and pictures of them, and then now she does a thing called The Sessions, where me and a bunch of other guys go around and we talk to college kids about what it's like. It's myself. They'll get an attorney, Paul Quinn, who also lives down there in Florida, in Tampa. Dom Famularo, who is a drum instructor. He's called the global ambassador.
Why do I know that name?
Oh, he's a motivator that is unbelievable.
Okay.
And so it's people like that, and we go around to colleges and talk about music and how many different things you can do, if not necessarily be the guy that's on stage,
right,
but the guys behind those guys.
Yeah,
you can be that too and still be in the music business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is a total joy,
Or you could have a podcast.
Or you can have a podcast with your guitars hanging in the background.
Hey, listen, man, thank you for everything. I really appreciate it, man. It's been a joy talking to you. And Jeff, thank you for connecting us. Hang on one second. Let me wrap this up, and then you and I'll chat. And everybody, check out the book, Liberty, Life, Love, and the Pursuit of Happiness. Life, Billy, and the Pursuit of Happiness. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this, please share it on your social media channels. We appreciate your support. Thanks very much to Liberty DeVito for hanging out with us. We really appreciate everything. And you'll dig this one. Most important, especially nowadays, remember that happiness really is a choice. So choose wisely. Be nice, go play your guitar or your drums, and have fun. Until next time, peace and love, everybody. I am out. Thank you so much, brother.